But when the world needed him most, but when the world needed him most, when the world needed him most, when the world needed him most, he...
Hey kids, I'm back! Got your milk. So what you been up to? Have you seen that new Halo show on Pirate Bay Plus? I did. And boy howdy, it was bad.
Worse.
So bad, in fact, the US government has let me out on temporary release after my participation in the January 6th protest. Just so that I can shit talk this show.
You in or out?
And let's just jump into it. Right at the beginning, where any story about John Halo would begin. At some rebel outpost on the outskirts of bumfuck nowhere, with a bunch of perfectly diverse rebels, whose only purpose is to deliver really transparent exposition about how they really don't like the United Nations Space Command.
Hands are filthy with the blood of UNSC Marines.
Thanks, Professor.
And trusts me to negotiate an end to this endless war.
Turn that shite off, giving people false hope. This peace talks will fail and the UNSC will come at us with everything they've got.
Come on, bro. The only thing the UN comes at are Haitian children. The rebels also exposit what Spartans are.
Have you seen a Spartan? Up close.
I face Marines.
Thanks, Marine. One Spartan is worth 100 Marines.
Ah, but Janka, there's another difference between Spartans and Marines. They're faster, stronger, smarter. Cooler.
Then the rebel general wanders in and asks,
Where's my daughter?
Enter our co-protagonist, Quan. She's out here searching for the rest of her hair.
Less talking, more looking, Kara. Look, if the general finds out we left the outpost...
Okay, we gotta talk about this expositional dialogue a bit, because it's like 75% of this entire episode. Story exposition is not some writing crime in and of itself. Sometimes there's just no better way to communicate information to the audience than outright using a character as a mouthpiece. And if you can make it sound like something a character would actually say...
It's not magic, it's water bending. And it's...
Yeah, an ancient art unique to our culture, blah, blah, blah.
Then great, you did it. Good job. But it's lines like this.
If the general finds out we left the outpost...
They are miles from their outpost. It is maddeningly evident that they willfully traveled all the way from there to here. And now, at this point in their trek, this character's like, but if your daddy finds out...
Come on, man.
Now, I ain't nitpicking this line because it's the worst of them, not by far, because it's actually this next line, when Quan finds what they're looking for and happily starts reciting the first paragraph of her own planet's Wikipedia page to her friend.
Magical. The galaxy's highest concentration of heavy hydrogen. Power your ships and power your drugs.
You need drugs to think this writing isn't complete garbo, and they just keep doing it, lazier and lazier.
As soon as I find a way, I'm getting off this stupid rock. Where will you even go, Quan? The UNSC owns the galaxy.
Luckily, Quan sees a shimmer and shuts the fuck up. She follows it and finds some elites mining for something in the rock. Then the real party starts. The elites then lay waste to the rebel outpost because Quan set up a flare to alert everyone. I don't really understand why else the elites would go to the trouble, so in my opinion, everything that follows is Quan's fault. Unfortunately for the rebels, they thought aliens were just UNSC propaganda.
It's all true.
What's true?
I thought it was UNSC propaganda.
And they realized too late that their bullets have no effect on them.
We're gonna die. Oh, of course not.
But of course they are. Fortunately for the rebels, the UNSC suddenly appear to propagandize them to death. The general ain't too happy to see Master Chief, understandably, as we'll learn later, but he just watched this alien massacre every non-fighter in his settlement, including, in his mind, his daughter. And so what does he do but turn his back on the alien? Just too stupid to live. Anyway, the Spartans gunning down the elites is a little cool, I'll admit. The CG ain't always the best. This insert shot especially stands out, but it's TV, so meh. It did take me out of the scene a bit when one of the Spartans randomly stops gunning down an elite to skewer it with a pipe. Dude really wanted to play with an energy sword. Also a bit distracting when MC easily rips through several elites with a leftover turret gun that was utterly ineffectual for the rebels a few minutes ago. But with plot armor comes plot weaponry, I guess. MC misses one though. The rebel general, with his long-distance weapon, decides to run right up to it. Again, too stupid to live. MC doesn't hear any of this somehow, but he finishes the job. Hooray! The Spartans saved the day! Next, the Spartans look for the mining site.
Chief? Covenant Phantom.
Oh, this lady's good. Inside the unnatural cave formation, MC finds this alien artifact that gives him flashes of his suppressed childhood memories. Alright, let's back up a moment. Halo. I didn't grow up on Halo. Actually, I only played the Reach 1 and 2 campaigns with a buddy last year. They were really fun. Some of the most fun I've had playing FPSs in years. But I'm not going to pretend like I'm some expert on Halo or its story. I'm not a fanboy, I'll never read the books, and I haven't even played all the games yet. I'm only vaguely aware a later game introduces the super tropey concept that the UNSC kidnapped children to enhance them into super soldiers. But none of this memory manipulation hooey.
I think he's having memories.
What? But this is Hollywood, and Hollywood really only has a handful of scripts they remix to ever-diminishing degrees. So we're getting the amnesiac super soldier goes AWOL and seeks the truth storyline again. Won't even be the first time we get this with a holo waifu. I swear I'm caught in a time loop, only it's degrading exponentially with every reset.
Haven't we done this before?
With his newly instilled doubts, MC takes the mysterious alien artifact and his comfort woman onto a ship and heads for Reach. Every scene on Reach is fantastically dull, like this one where Halsey the mad scientist gets reprimanded by her boss for doing mad science.
I've given you a long
Episode.
Don't hang me with it.
The scene at Covenant Command is slightly more interesting just because it's bizarre. A prophet is following the orders of some human chick? Beta! This thing is supposed to be one of the greatest antagonists of humanity in this universe, and they're kissing the ass of Baby Gaga? What? How do the writers not see the problem here? Quan wakes up and gets a call from Miranda Keyes, who looks and acts nothing like the Miranda Keyes I know. But it's okay, the showrunner has proudly proclaimed he and his team purposefully didn't look at the games. So in this case, it wasn't a decision based on quotas or anything like that, but literal color blindness. Anyway, Miranda asks Quan, who still hasn't washed her friend's blood spatter off her face, for a favor.
If you would upload a few words explaining what you saw, the brutality of the Covenant, the fact that the Spartans are actually taking them on. I think that it would go a long way to putting aside whatever these politicians are bickering about and helping us focus on the real war.
Quan is less than receptive.
What if I say the UNSC sent a bunch of Spartans to attack us? And then you kidnapped me to force me to say it was all the aliens.
The entire encounter was recorded.
You people can make video look like anything. We've seen your Spartan propaganda broadcasts. You think the outer colonies don't see through that?
Honey, did you not see the alien go right through your dad? The UNSC propaganda was kinda right.
And when they hear my version, you can forget about unity or whatever.
What? First of all, why do you think the UNSC would broadcast your total fabrication of events? Second, what do you gain in this situation from lying about it? How do you think the UNSC is going to react to your threat? What the hell is happening here? Quan could be forgiven for being shell-shocked and completely irrational, but because this is a bad show with bad writing, Miranda acts like Quan has actual leverage.
What is it you want?
Independence for Madrigal.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Then there's more boring Reach scenes. Skip. Now, Master Chief is supposed to be 6'10", yet this little 5'2" Asian girl comes up to his shoulder. They made Master Chief a Spartanlet.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to next you. You're just not tall enough.
Over dinner, Quan informs Master Chief they've actually met before.
When you killed my mother?
Ouch. Turns out MC put down his fair share of insurrectionists back in the day, even despite his misgivings about it.
What I can see on the ground may not reflect the entirety of the situation.
What does that mean?
Sometimes others know things I do not.
It ever occurred to you that it might work the other way around?
Then you question everything.
And someone told you that's bad?
No, Quan, that's horrible. Don't you know? Always support current thing. So, pretty epic. They made Master Chief a submissive meathead with a history of unquestioningly killing non-threatening political targets. The badass Xeno Slayer is just a military dog for politicians. Henceforth, his ever-predictable arc is going to be redeeming himself with the help of a mentally challenged Korean kid. Thanks, I love it. Then the UNSC sends MC the order to grant Quan her independence from life. Instead, MC decides the best course of action is to go rogue. His first act is to kill the video feed from his ship so as to not alarm the UNSC. This alarms the UNSC. They respond by remotely lowering the oxygen in his ship to knock him out. This works until it doesn't, because MC can simply turn the air back on with the atmosphere controls. Rob should have had that switched on before switching the cameras off, but I'm no master nor chief. Boss Lady sends out the squad to greet Master Chief, but she need not worry. Quan wakes up and has it all under control.
Don't
She couldn't make this look more like a prop if she tried, just effortlessly holding up a rifle half her size.
Trying to get control of the flight.
I will kill you.
So, scenario. A disturbed, blood-smeared rebel girl is pointing your gun at you. Do you A. Point out your armor's outer layer is enhanced titanium and she won't even dent it? B. Stare down the girl with your intimidating Spartan aura? C. Take your helmet off and tell her to shoot you in the face? Or D. All of the above? Yup, you guessed it.
D is the one!
You'll need to aim up here.
Looks like Judge Dredd
2012.
is the only chum bucket buddy who can keep it wrapped. Think I can rest easy that Goblin Slayer's face is safe too, because Netflix probably ain't gonna roll the dice on that one. For Master Chief, I don't agree with taking the helmet off, period. Unless you're gonna keep the face hidden. Leaving his face to the audience's imagination is always better. But fuck it, they're gonna do it no matter what. So at best, this stunt is something to pull at like episode 3 at the earliest, after these characters have, any history to speak of. Not in the first episode, and certainly not even in the context of this situation. Need I remind you, this is a girl MC barely knows, who's traumatized, unhinged, with an outspoken, extreme prejudice towards Spartans. And by the way, he killed her mom.
And you killed my mother?
So of course she decides to trust him, and for now put aside their differences. Wonderful. Time is of the essence. MC tells Quan to rip out the cables to disable the autopilot taking them to Reach, but Quan just isn't Sue enough to bypass the compressor.
I bypassed the compressor.
Get the fuck out of this shit.
She is, however, hella strong enough to shoot an oversized battle rifle with absolutely no kickback. With manual control restored, MC tries to turn the ship back, but they get EMP'd. Not looking so good for our heroes.
What do we do?
Well, apparently we move painfully slowly to the alien artifact and finger it for some more memories. Until wham! So the energy pulse takes out all of the UNSC systems, but it restores MC's ship. Yeah, okay. And off to space they go, for 8 more episodes of sterling, well-written adventure, I'm sure. Wait, Kyle Killen. Where have I heard that name before?
With revisions by Kyle Killen, who apparently didn't or couldn't do much to save it.
He do be killing it. Sorry folks, Para Halo's first episode sucks harder than, well, my aim in Halo. Consistently off the mark. Yes, it's only the first episode. Yes, there's the minuscule chance it could get better, yada yada yada.
You don't know what Master Chief is going to do at this point.
But so far, the premise as presented is so tedious, sloppy, and overdone, I have zero desire to watch more. You could have me at gunpoint telling me I need to watch the rest, and my only response would be,
You'll need to aim up here.
as it stands, this show is just an inferior version of The Mandalorian, and that's kind of saying something. If I had to say something positive, well, visually the elites look good, the Prophet looked good, the Spartans look good, the guns look fine. Clearly someone looked at the games, even if the rest of the creative team didn't. But on the negative, the writing is beyond amateurish, nearly every scenario strains believability, and the plotting is a mess. If you're a fan of the games, there's really not a lot for you here. Not even Halo's godly music for some godforsaken reason. The only motives to watch are if you're actually into alternate timeline gobbledygook, or you're into watching a producer paramount your beloved franchise and ride her like a cheap whore for a handful more subscribers. We all have our kinks.
What?
If you're not a fan of the games, I'm assuming that just means you haven't played them. And the first one's about the length that this lesser product will be. So if you have to choose...
All we're saying, give
Halo Combat Evolved.
a chance!
As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to the patrons' continued support. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, ring that bell, and I'm never uploading again.